I'm going to leave that thing about a 1/2 inch big. Because I don't have the barrels on this test piece, I can't measure the drops. But I know what these old English shotguns had for drops. I've got them written down over there in my records. So I'm going to make this thing oversized. I'm going to cut it probably 3/4 of an inch too big up here where I can have room to drop it. Well, my bandsaw had a little hitch in its get along. I need to replace the tire on my lower wheel, but I think it'll work just to cut this out. That's my forearm. Only God can grow a piece of wood that looks like that. We just get to play with it. Now I'm going to thin it down. It's too thick. I've got some wood that kind of looks a little out of place where a limb came growing up through this thing. You can see those rings there. I'm going to plane off this side mostly and get rid of about probably a 1/2 inch of this wood because I just don't need it all. I want to save this other side. The pattern, which is this stock that I have, did not come with barrels. So I'm using the barrels, what is it, Carl? Anyway, I'm using the barrels off of the ones that I'm building, and I have simply fitted them tight from the barrel to the receiver. That's a given. Okay, that's going to be 90 degrees, so those barrels should be lined up. And I know this looks like a menagerie with stuff propped everywhere. I'm just trying to hold this on a plane, this on a plane. I can't drop it straight in there because it doesn't fit. But I'm trying to get my dimensions here because this is the one I'm imitating. So what I've done is put this straight stick right here in line with the top of this rib. And I've already put it there and moved it a time or two, but I've got it lined up straight. And then I have measured my drop at comb and my drop at heel. And it looks crazy, but I've got it pretty close. And I've looked at a few other stock dimensions. I keep notes on people. It looks something like that. And I've looked at some other stock dimensions that that I have on hand of similar rifles. An old Charles Daly, a couple of Foxes, which was a really good, those Ansley Foxes were super shotguns. Several others I've looked at, and I've got a pretty good average, pretty good idea of what this is going to be like. So I've got my stock blank cut out, oversized. This is way more than what I need up here. Here, all of it is just really oversized and big. And even back here, I've got way more than what I need. The only thing that's real is about from here to there and forward. And even that's a little bit big. So when I start inletting this action, I'll have some room. I'm probably a 1/16 big on top. So when I set that top tang in, it's got to squish down in there about a 1/16. And then I can get my drops. After I put the barrel on action, then I can measure back. I can get my drops and go ahead and cut this to size. So that's the reason it looks a little clunky, and because it is. So that's what I'm doing now with all this goofy setup that I've got. One of the things that I'm going to do when I'm drawing this, to get a little bit pencil. This is a carpenter shop. There should be a pencil here. To determine more what I really need, is I assemble this without any wood on it. And that lets me know these dimensions. This right here is a very important dimension. The width of this, obviously, the wood has to meet the sides, the width of it right here, the thickness of it. Back here, the same thing. Once I put that screw in there, and that screw is bottomed out, and that screw is bottomed out with no resistance on it, Petra has found her something to chew on. Usually screw heads, if they're visible, they run front to back. And that's bottomed out right there, and I can see that that screw is to its correct place. Then I'll pull these side plates apart this way, and then I get a dimension. Pull a dimension across there, and that needs to be 1 and a heavy 1/4. And I'll draw this thing out. So that's that and that. And for right now, that's all I'm going to need. I'm going to say 1 5/16 on that. Everything goes from some line made in the center. Find a center line, just set your square and mark 2 lines and split the difference. All that will eventually get gone, but I'm going to start with it anyway.